Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today, two questions I'm looking to answer. The first is Louisiana any good still? Because, well, of course, with this being the July 4th update, you can now research this fine vessel in the Bureau, and has it lost its luster over the years? It's still a good ship. We'll dive in and talk about that. But the other thing I want to talk about is the commander we're running, Commander Riker. Of course, this is the one free commander in the Star Trek collaboration. If you went ahead and did the full calendar worth of events and played all of the days, you should have Riker for free right now. If not, you can either pay the doubloons to pay for the days you missed and complete the missing days, or it can be picked up in the shop for 5,000 doubloons. Either way, you can use them. And, well, first, let's go ahead and take a look at this glorious hit, because Louisiana, God, is it still broken, and God, if you run Arthas with it, is it still just a thing that puts on a huge amount of hurt. 34,000 off that GK. But with Riker coming, let's talk about him. Of course, he is a brand new American battleship commander, one that is kind of themed towards the hybrid battleships. The inspirations I'm running: Arthas the Cold and Kondo for better concealment. His base trait is going to reduce the airstrike cooldown time and reduce your rudder shift time. Both pretty decent things, especially for Louisiana, who has that rear gun that you're going to want to use as we get the shit slapped out of our upper of our hangar. Then I'm running Flammable Cannoneer, Bird's Eye View, Marksmanship, and then his unique skill, which makes him, I think, worth using. Still, jury's out on who I'm most favoring overall, but I am enjoying Riker as a commander. What Pegasus does is, if you use your airstrike and you manage to hit with one of the torpedoes in that airstrike, you will get an up to 10% damage, or a 10% reduced reload time on your next fighter squadron. Pair that with, of course, the base trait of airstrike cooldown time, and if you got him up to 16, well, you're looking at a 13 or 16.4. If you got Riker up to 16.4, you're looking at 13% reduction to the aircraft squadron cycle time. To put those numbers in a realistic point of view, Louisiana's base squadron reload time is 90 seconds. When you take 13% away from that, that gets you around 78 seconds. So, a good 12-second reduction in overall time. Pretty decent right there, right? Like, that is something not to laugh at. That can definitely help, especially over the course of a match. It could get you a couple of extra airstrikes in, which, as you can see already, 4 minutes in, we're at 100,000 damage, and a good chunk of that damage has come from those airstrikes. So Riker overall, I think, a pretty powerful commander for Louisiana. Now, what about Louisiana? How is Louisiana? Well, we're 4 minutes in. We have 94%. We have 94,000 damage. I'm thinking Louisiana still pretty good. Of course, you need to be in the right situations. You need to be able to deploy those planes. Louisiana's main armament, I hate to say it, is going to be those planes. The guns, pretty decent, pretty good. But the thing that can, put this ship over the edge, I think without the planes, Louisiana is an okay ship. With the planes, she's incredibly deadly, and a ship that needs to be feared and respected. And, that's a pretty good place to be in. As we said, Louisiana back now available for free. It's in the Bureau. Now, if you're one of the people who had Louisiana already, don't be afraid to research that Bureau project. A fun little thing that the CCs get, that a side benefit to being a CC is a lot of times we'll get the legendary ships for free, or, you know, we'll get a campaign ship for free, and then, you know, if it ends up in the Bureau, we could research it again. And what happens when you research a Bureau project ship that you already have is you get a pretty decent payday as far as as far as silver goes. So look forward to that. At one point it was doubloons, but they patched that a long time ago, unfortunately. There was a couple of patches where it was doubloons. It was glorious. Oh my goodness. Anyways, Louisiana, what's going on? Well, you saw we just had another good airstrike on the Ohio over there. We have our destroyer kind of keeping him spotted. We're going to try and kind of meet him over here. This isn't the best play for us. Let's be clear. We have a ton more health, and we can afford to play a little bit stupid, but Louisiana does not do well in up-close combat, leading to the fact of that large hangar. It is big, it is relatively lightly armored, and you do kind of have to be prepared to lose a lot of health. Anyways, we see Ohio. We're waiting for it to tell us that our shot's going to be good. Can we get a decent chunk? Nope. only three of 6 hit. It is what it is, and you can see just how much he chunks us. We don't get hit in the Citadel, but those Ohio guns hurt, and they had plenty of time to arm, and they do so. One thing I do here is drop an airstrike at relatively close range. I was not expecting this airstrike to be able to be dropped this close, but you know what? We will take it. We are still burning. I wonder when I'm going to hit the fire extinguisher, because I really should have extinguished it by now. Thankfully, a teammate hits Ohio for a large amount of health, and now he is caught in a crossfire of torpedoes, bringing him down, and we lost a good chunk of our health in that engagement, and overall, well, bring us, you know, closer to victory. As far as the map goes, we're all tied up. As far as points go, or captured points go, we're slightly ahead in the overall points. We're ahead on ships, so overall in a pretty good position. And I'll be honest, guys, rest of the match, not terribly exciting. We end up kind of taking our time coming around this island, trade blows, drop a plane, and end up sinking to a Preußen. It then ends in a 1v1 destroyer fight where our guy just sits in the cap for the rest of the time. So we may cut this video off, but I guess final thoughts on both Louisiana and on good old Riker. So first off, Louisiana, still a great ship, still a ton of fun. You know, it is very, very powerful. Those airstrikes are incredibly powerful, especially if you pair them with Arthas, so that when you know you're going to get a huge hit, you can increase that alpha strike by a large amount. I think Riker does a very nice job of pairing quite well with these styles of ships. Of course, there are basically two now tailor-made commanders, Riker and Reeves, as far as the tailor-made for these classes of American hybrid battleships. If I was to choose one, I think Riker is probably better than Reeves. And, you know, if we were then to compare it to the pay-to-win commanders, is it better or worse than a Zerlane? Because if you remember, Zerlane very much totally buffs the guns, where this, we're buffing both the planes and the guns. And a Zerlane, I think, if you're on point, if the luck is in your favor, is going to be the better build overall. But as far as how I want to play these ships, how effectively they are going to perform overall, I think Riker is probably the way you want to go. Anyways, guys, that's Louisiana, that's Riker. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like videos like this, as always, make sure to hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.